Hi, I'm Bree Guntz with Packaging World. What follows is a clip from an on-demand Packaging World webinar, Innovations in Linear and Independent Motion Packaging Applications. Scan the QR code at the end of the video to access the full discussion.
As a software guy, hardware is only half the battle. So what did it take on the software side to make independent motion even possible?
Well, there's a few things that made it to make it independent motion possible. Number one is you had to figure out some way to control these things. And one of the problems is anybody could have brought up a PC and sent some, typed in some commands in a DOS window and move her from point 100 to point 200 and do it. But that's not useful for the packaging thing. So one of the first things we had to do is figure out if we're going to sell in the packaging world, it has to work on modern control systems. How do we integrate it into modern control systems? Actually, our first control system I integrated with, I happen to be the only person in history, I think, who's ever got a third party to drive to work full motion on Siemens platform. And that was the first platform. But then Siemens, being German, never quite jumped on it or whatever. They could have ran with the product, never quite jumped on it. But the Rockwell salesperson came in, local Rockwell salesperson came in and said, wow. And so he really pushed to get it on Rockwell. I invented a backdoor way to get it on Rockwell. Basically, every mover is just a simple rotary axis. And that track is just one big rotary axis, and you just command it how many millimeters around. And then you can basically connect it to cam profiles. And so then all those can be synchronized in cam profiles. And now all of a sudden you're on a standard platform. You can hook it up to I/O. You can open servers, so on. That's actually one of the patents that I wrote that Rockwell owns now. That is basic to the industry. What they're doing with it compared to the other people, I have no idea. But that's one of the basic patterns is how you control these things. For packaging, they have to work on a standard control system, so I can have a servo drive or a robot or I/O or whatever on the rest of the packaging line integrating with it.